Okay, and we are live. All right, hey everybody, welcome to the Friday 3D Printing Community Hangout. My name's Matt. You guys are watching us on the How I Do It channel. Just a little bit of an introduction about myself. I'm a general maker. I do 3D printing, metalworking, woodworking, electronics. And you might find me doing all kinds of other stuff too on the channel. It's sort of a toss-up on things. Tonight we have with us a panel of 3D modelers, and everybody on the stream does different types of modeling. Some of the guys do CAD modeling, some do what we call organic modeling, and I'm not sure if now the panel has anybody or not, but there's also programmatic modeling, things like OpenSCAD, where you're writing code in order to generate a model. And also something I didn't think about that I really didn't advertise was virtual reality modeling. So we're going to talk about the different types of modeling that we do and what draws us to do that type of modeling, why we're interested in it. There's a few of us like Garrett who do organic modeling and also CAD modeling. So there's some of us who are going to have a mixture to talk about as well. So we're going to go right down the line here. And we're going to start with the introductions from everybody. First person on my lineup is Carmelo.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Carmelo Nazario. I'm an organic 3D modeler. I make stuff and I make junk that I think people like.
Yeah, we like it. Seriously.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I make geek stuff, cosplay items, figurines, stuff.
All right. Next in line is Garrett.
Hey everybody, my name's Garrett. I run a YouTube channel called Chaos Core Tech, and I'm at Chaos Core Tech on just about all the social medias. And kind of like Carmelo, I just make fun little things. I'll do props from time to time, but most of the time I make little figurines and stuff like that. Like this one I just made is Roberto from Futurama. So things like that. My wife paints them all, so that's why it looks so good. But yeah, I just try to have fun with 3D modeling. It's really what I do. So that's me.
Okay, next up we got Joe Mike.
Oh, it's stabbing time. Sorry. He's one of my favorite Futurama characters. Hi, I'm Joe Mike Terranella. My channel name is Joe Mike Terranella. I know I'm really creative. So, are we doing what projects we got going on, or?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and do that, and we'll go back. We'll catch Carmelo and Garrett.
Okay.
I really think to do it all at the same time.
So I do a little bit of both when it comes to modeling. I do organic and CAD. I started off in CAD a long time ago, and then when I got into 3D printing, I actually started doing organic modeling and 3D printing, and not even making the connection that I could do CAD modeling and then translate it into that. So anyway, what I've currently got going on is I've got metal. I've been printing in metal a lot. And that's copper, bronze, and all this stuff. And yeah, so Monday I'm doing my first live stream, and I'm going to be showing how to print and finish this stuff. So that's my current project.
All right. Next up we have Mike.
Mike is in who?
You.
Oh, seriously? I'm like looking at the lineup on Hangouts, and it.
Yeah, my lineup's different than yours.
Oh, okay, fine. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I'm Mike from Neo Portnoy 3D Printing. Hey, everybody. I am a neophyte as far as design. I've only designed a couple of things so far. A couple in Tinkercad and a couple in. I just started working with. Oh my lord, I am totally blanking. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a 20-hour day so far. Onshape. I started just working on Onshape right now, and I'm starting to really get the hang of it, but I am far from what you would call an expert, trust me. I'm basically here for flavor. Let's call it that.
All right. Next up, we've got Nick. Nick is kind of like a special guest here. We know he doesn't do a whole lot of modeling yet, but we'll convince him to.
Yep, so I'm Nick. Some of you may know me from MakerBox. We run the monthly subscription service for filament samples. I'm kind of an engineer by trade. That's why I study in college. So my main modeling is SolidWorks. That's what I've learned throughout school, and I've also used Pro-E. So a lot of assembly work and more functional designs than, I guess, organic models.
All right. Next up, we've got Simone.
Hi everyone, I'm Simone. You find me everywhere with the tag FNTSMN, and pretty much I do YouTube. At the same time, I run my company that is a creative studio, and I usually use CAD software like Rhino 3D or Fusion 360, and I have basic knowledge on ZBrush. So if I really need, I can do some organic, but I usually prefer give that side of modeling to my business partner that is more skilled than me.
All right. Does Carmelo, Garrett, Mike, do you guys have any, or Simone, Nick, do you guys have any projects that you are currently working on that you want to tell everybody about?
Yeah, if you want. I mean, I don't know if I can, how I share my desktop from here. Let me see. Oh, you can share the desktop from Hangouts.
Left-hand side, there's a green rectangle with a white arrow inside of it.
Oh,
Goes to
yeah.
screen share.
Screen one. So I'm working in stream on this. That is from Mass Effect. Is a commission work that I pretty much just almost finished in Fusion 360. This is actually my second big project on Fusion because I'm still learning well the software, and it's pretty much ready. I just need to subdivide in parts to be ready to be print, and should be out soon. And I'm still finishing some other projects from Overwatch. Probably a lot of you know me from Overwatch because I collaborate with Blizzard and other big video games company. So this one is my next big project coming soon, I guess.
That's awesome. Mass Effect's like my favorite game.
I was watching your stream. I'm trying to learn how you guys do that kind of stuff with like Fusion 360. And as soon as I saw you were streaming, Simone, I was jumping on your streams trying to learn something just from watching what you're up to.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's not that tricky. I always try to say that it's just go on the software and pretty much the basic. If you don't have like really crazy shape, it's just tracing, extruding, chamfer, and fillets, and doing some combine for cut or join some parts, and the rest is just coming along. It just takes some time just to put the time to learn the software, but then I think everyone can do like 3D modeling. In particular, Fusion 360 is quite user-friendly, so.
Yeah, that's primarily what I use is Fusion, but not doing as intricate of models as what some of the stuff that you do, like the guns and stuff. That's pretty impressive what you're up to.
Thanks.
Carmelo, what do you got going on?
Oh man, well on Twitter I keep posting up, and on Patreon I keep posting up the models I'm making, which recently was the peanut butter jelly time banana. And now someone wants me to make a Gundam. So I guess Gundam is my most recent, I guess, project I got going on. I started the head a little bit, but it's gonna take some time. People want it, I'm gonna give it to them.
Two of my favorite things right there.
But yeah, nothing too huge like Simone over there, because that guy's a beast at what he does, man.
Thanks.
No problem, brother. I mean, I just work a day-to-day thing, man. If I want to make a lizard tomorrow, I make a lizard. If I want to make a robot mech, I'll make a robot mech.
All right, Garrett, what do you got going on?
Oh, I got a ton of stuff going on. I keep myself on a week rotation with models, so I with my wife painting them and everything, I have to give her plenty of time to do that. So I'm like 5 weeks out right now. So I've got some more Slime Rancher coming up, some more Futurama stuff, lots of stuff. Cool. Nothing specific that's real big though, I don't think.
Sorry, my wife's over here distracting me. So to start thinking, did I miss anybody? Does anybody else have any projects they want to talk about? Nick, any sneak peeks as to what's coming up next month in MakerBox?
Man, the worst is, we have the Facebook group for MakerBox, and I even got an email from someone the other day, and they're like, "Oh, like, I would really love to have this filament." And somehow they always know what's in my mind because people guess what the filament is, like, before it's even out and shipped, and it's getting tough trying to trick people now. So that's probably the hardest thing going on.
Well, I know for me, the bronze filament that was out got me just down a whole big rabbit hole now. That color fab bronze. And now I'm getting all the color fab metal filaments, and all the Virtual Foundry sent me a bunch of samples. And so if anyone from Color Fab is watching, give Nick a big hug.
Yeah, it's the metal filament is something I'm still trying to spend some time with because I want to try, the polishing and like all the corrosion stuff and things that people do with it. For me, I think it's the coolest post-processing filament you can get.
Yeah, require a lot of time. It's nothing that's quick.
I found that the magic bullet for most of these filaments is the 0000 steel wool, like really, really, really fine steel wool. Like after you sand it down, like with all the sandpaper, take steel wool to it, and it like starts shining. It's amazing. Anyway, that's off topic. Sorry, man.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry. I was trying to get the link to 3D printed Aspie to get him in here. Let's start out with what. So for everybody who's a CAD modeler, what draws you to using CAD instead of doing things organically? Let's start out there.
Yeah, I can share about. So for me, like I said, it's kind of what I learned in school. I've been honestly drawn towards organic modeling, and I want to start learning it because for me, I feel like more abstract and like cooler prints come from the organic modeling, ZBrush and things like that. So I would love to get into that, but I think it's so much easier to get into CAD modeling, and like someone was saying before, it's seems complicated, but once you get started and you start understanding the software, you'll be surprised how much you can really make from it.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of trying. I don't know. I think everyone have some skill. It's like when I start to design, I start trying the 3 different software was Rhino 3D, SolidWorks, and ZBrush, and I found that Rhino 3D was the software that I was more comfortable with, and SolidWorks I didn't find that user friendly, and then I did some project in ZBrush, but at the same time I figured out that was taking me too much time and wasn't with the right software for me. And I mean, if I need it, I can use it because I know how I need to click on the interface, but I don't know. I feel like CAD software is more my field.
Yeah, I agree with that. I started off with CAD in high school, which I think was 15 years ago. But yeah, so like for me, it's it's comfortable. I can sketch 2D really quickly. The controls and interfaces are very familiar to me. But then again, the only real thing that I consider 3D would be like the isometric views that I used to do. But translating that, like Fusion 360, trying to get into that and use the 2D modeling and then being able to take that into 3D and more organically model things. But it's still not as comfortable to me as having model space, like in CAD style. So I don't know. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah,
Garrett, what about you? I know you kind of do a mixture, even in Fusion, which is mostly CAD based, but you kind of do a mixture in there with the forms and everything.
Yeah, I actually started in Tinkercad, and I think it was more of an accessibility thing, both price-wise, because it's free, and ease of use. And like I basically just go with a program until I hit a wall that I can't break through. And like I don't know, like I did this guy right here, which is the Citron from Plants vs Zombies. I made that in Tinkercad, and it was probably one of the more advanced things, other than like an R2D2 robot you can see behind me that kind of works. But the I don't know if you can see, but it's like faceted. You can't get perfectly smooth spheres and stuff like that in Tinkercad. And it was time consuming. So I looked for other options and got to Fusion 360. And I think I naturally gravitated towards CAD because I'm a programmer for a living, so I program like web applications and computers and stuff like that. So naturally, the more like scientific driven stuff was easier for me. So I went to Fusion 360, and I've made things like Sonic right here. But even with this, it's extremely difficult to get some of these shapes in Fusion 360, even with their sculpting environment. And a lot of small details is just something it's not really like built to handle. And so I've started to run into limitations there. And now I've actually moved over to ZBrush, and it's quite a learning, kind of quite a step up. It's been very difficult, taking me a long time, but like this was pretty much one of the only things I've made in ZBrush. But it's like, I don't know if you can see the details on the hair. It's like you just can't do that in Fusion. Things like that, and so it's really just been accessibility and I don't know, kind of ramping up my skills to do what I want to do. And for the type of like organic figurine modeling that I want to do, I think I need to be in organic spaces like ZBrush. But it's just been, that was too big of a jump for me at first. So I started out with CAD and I'm just working my way there.
Cool. Who else does CAD modeling? Was that everybody, I think? The thing for me, so just my side of the CAD modeling, I'm sorry, I was a little bit distracted here at the beginning of the stream. For me, what draws me into CAD is primarily I'm good at seeing things in the physical world and measuring and visualizing what I want with square or rounded edges. Like even like the spline tool in CAD, I have issues with that occasionally where it just doesn't want to work out right for me. But when it comes to mathematical things I can calculate and visualize, that's what I'm good at, I would say. And with doing like practical printing and stuff like that, CAD obviously lends its hand in the practical side of things, being able to put in measurements and get exact parts out of it. Whereas the organic stuff, I keep trying to learn the organic modeling because I'd like to be able to do stuff like the Star Wars helmets and droids and stuff that I'm working on right now. Rather than using other people's models, I'd like to be able to make my own. But I haven't been able to figure out how to do that in CAD yet, and I definitely can't do it organically.
Yeah, I guess you just need to. The suggestion is always challenging. To find some project that is challenging, that put you in a position where you need to learn something more in the software, and that will for sure help all the time. It's like, for me, it was like probably like 3 months, I was thinking to move to Fusion 360 for a different reason, and then I take a project. I took props that I need to make, and I just say, okay, now I make these props in Fusion 360. I don't care how. I don't care how much time it will take it, but we'll do it, and that's let me be able finally to find my space inside Fusion 360 and be able to start to modeling all my model there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, part of CAD is there's so many ways to design the same part. So just because someone does it one way, you can always find your own little like cheat to make it work. So I think getting comfortable with the software, just trying a bunch of projects like Simone was saying, that really push you. That's kind of the best way to start learning the software. And luckily with YouTube, there's like tons of videos and tutorials out there for anything you want to design. So just learning each tool, one step at a time, you'll be kind of surprised with, what power you can really get out of some CAD software.
As kind of like the odd man out, I'm just kind of curious, just kind of researching different organic software systems. I hear Blender come up every now and again, and being that there are a couple of guys on the panel like Simone, like Carmelo, like Garrett, that they deal with organic software all the time in order to create their models. What's their take on Blender versus one of the other options that they normally use?
I tried Blender one time. I opened it. I tried to figure out how it was working, and I closed it. I don't know. I found it like the space not user-friendly at all. And I don't know. I didn't find like a easy software, and I didn't find that many tutorials at the time. We are speaking like probably 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know. For organic, I always focus on ZBrush. I think this is the most popular software about organic, and I know that works pretty well with 3D printing. I have no idea about Blender, to be honest.
Yeah, I've done a little bit in Blender. Nothing to make me anywhere worthy of saying I can do things in there, but I definitely agree with Simone. The user interface is just not friendly at all. I think it's a great program. Like, I think just about anything you want to do in there, you can. Because I know that they have like sculpting stuff like ZBrush and, just your normal vertex modeling. And they even have like animation stuff. I think they even have a game engine in there. And it's free, so it's wonderful software. It's just, it's a very, very steep learning curve. So it's tough to get into.
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot to it, and I think that's what just pulls me away from it. It's just like way too much to deal with, and that UI is just, in my opinion, horrible. And this is coming from someone that uses ZBrush, and I know everyone hates the ZBrush user interface, but Blender to me is just like, I don't know, man. I just can't get it. It's out of this world.
Blender,
Yeah,
I think the interface on that has kind of like taken the form of all the different roles that it does, and it's sort of like you said, it's kind of all over the place. Hey, we got real quick, guys. Let's give him a chance here to introduce himself. We got Ryan, the 3D printed Aspie, just joined in. Ryan, are you there? I see his.
Yeah,
There he is.
Sorting my screen out and stuff.
You want to go ahead and introduce yourself real quick, Ryan?
Yeah, 2 seconds.
This atomic fireball is real hot.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Google Hangouts. The screen share is not working. I'm Ryan.
Yeah, they've been changing a bunch of stuff after the 25th, so it might have broke screen share a little bit.
That's going to be fun. Yeah, I'm Ryan, or 3D printed Aspie. I ZBrush model, bit of Fusion 360. Used to be a game dev, or that's where I started in 3D work. So, and now just use the 3D stuff that I've learned to apply it to 3D printing and print some models.
You got a bunch of fans in the chat, Ryan. All right, sorry about that. So, Blender. Anybody else have anything to talk about Blender? 3D Crazy in the chat did make a comment that he started with Blender and said if you learned with Blender, it's easy, which I got to agree with that. I used Blender at first to do my videos on YouTube. I didn't use it for modeling. Going from that then to Premiere to do video, man, there was a huge change there, and Premiere just had a nicer interface because it wasn't cluttered with all the extras that Blender has.
I was about to say the exact same thing. You really appreciate all the bells and whistles in Premiere when you're like coming from Blender. You're like, I can do that just by pressing C and pushing here. It's like I can drag and drop files that I want to put in here. What?
Ryan, have you used Blender at all?
I started to use it when I first got back into 3D sculpting, but I used it to do the animated intro or the animated intro video to my first couple of videos, the ones that got blocked and deleted and all that craziness. Because I lost the first channel. I set the channel up and someone reported it or whatever, and it got taken down. So
oh yeah, and that intro you did in there was cool. I remember that before that got taken down.
Yeah, the blue, the blue paper sketch type blueprint thing.
Yeah.
I made that in Blender using the animation thing. And it's really powerful. It is really powerful if you know how to use it and you spend the time in there. It can be really powerful. It can import any file from any 3D software. And it's got plugins up the wazoo because it's free and open source, and everyone if they use a different program and they're like Garrett who can code and program, they can make plugins to zip files back and forth, and that's how it happens. So it's good. It's good if you want to get into 3D modeling, construction modeling, or block modeling, I think they used to call it. Blender is good for that if you want to, do that type of thing. ZBrush is the one. it's the one for me. It's the one I feel most comfortable in.
So we got a couple of you guys that are ZBrush fans. Garrett, you're starting to learn ZBrush, I believe. Well, actually, I guess you're probably a little bit more than just learning it at this point. So we've talked about a little bit, touched on why some of us are drawn to CAD. Why are you guys drawn to modeling?
Well, I would say I'm still in the learning phases of ZBrush. Definitely not anywhere near proficient. But I think, kind of like I touched on earlier, the reason I'm drawn to it is just the things that I want to do. I don't think can be done in CAD. I mean, they could, but organic modeling software is definitely the place that is made for that type of modeling. And yeah, I'm just not as, and I'll most likely use both, honestly. Like I'll create the character and the really organic shapes in ZBrush, and then if I have like a gun or something like that that needs to go on the character, I'll swap over to Fusion 360 and do that, and then use some sort of intermediary software like Mesh Mixer or something like that to combine them afterwards, or just bring it into ZBrush and whatever. But yeah, I think for me it's just necessity based on what I want to do.
And actually, now that you say about using the two of them for different parts, I just realized how much potential that could unlock to have all that.
For sure, because there's definitely like the geometric shapes and like the patterning tools that CAD offers, like Fusion 360, are just unmatched. And if you can do some of that stuff in Fusion and then combine them, it'll save you a ton of work.
What about you, Carmelo?
I come from like a sculpting background, so clay for me was the thing. So I mean, ZBrush was the software that kind of best mimicked that. So yeah, man, I just gravitated towards ZBrush. I've been using ZBrush, I want to say more than like 6 years or 7 years. Yeah, I mean, I just love it. I mean, the shapes you can get with it. I can make a human skull in like, I don't know, 30 minutes, and it's thanks to all the plugins and the tools that Pixelogic ZBrush has in it, like Decimation Master and Dynamesh. Those two things are just amazing in that software. That's one of the big reasons I stay with that software is Dynamesh and Decimation Master. I mean, it's just like pulling clay, then magically smoothing it, and then adding more polygons, and then do it all over again, sculpt on top. It's just an amazing software. I mean, I can't see myself using anything else.
What was just dancing around on your screen? Did anybody else catch that?
Yeah, I caught that. I was dying.
Oh, that's the Connect skeleton. I think there's a ghost behind me. Ghost Adventures.
Carmelo, to your point,
under your arm.
can I add Transpose Master to that list of features that are really good in there?
Oh yeah, Transpose Master is amazing.
Coming from Fusion, once you have everything combined, you can't move it unless you break it up again, and so I find that amazing.
Now, are you guys using ZBrush Core, or are you using the full ZBrush?
I'm using 4 Release 7.
That's what I'm on as well. So not Core, the full ZBrush.
You're on the full. Okay, I was going to say, I was about to ask, I don't know the difference between them. Ryan, you're using the full ZBrush, I believe, too.
Chasm.
He's working on modeling. He does that a lot during the streams. So if anybody wants to see what he's up to, you can click on his window there and see what he's working on. The one stream we bet Ryan, we had him trying to do a Poppy from the Troll movie, because there was a bunch of us that our kids or nieces or nephews or somebody wanted the Poppy Troll. So Ryan was working on modeling her for us. So go ahead, guys. I mean, what do you use? And we talked about a little bit of why you are drawn to the type of modeling that you are. For the guys who do organic modeling, I'm just kind of, it's sort of a curiosity for me. What is your like day-to-day job? Like, are you guys into stuff that's like advertising and graphic arts type stuff? Or I know like a lot of people in the 3D printing community are programmers or IT of some type. What's your background that got you guys into doing the organic modeling?
I'll start out. My basically driving goal for everything I do in life is I want to make video games. I've known since I was like 6 years old that I want to make video games. And I live in the middle of Nebraska, so there's not a lot of people around here that share that passion or have any abilities that would lend themselves to that. And so it's hard to meet people to do that type of stuff. So I just decided I'm going to do it all myself. And I learned how to program. So that was my first adventure. I went to college to program. And that's what I currently do right now for like a real job. And, I started 3D modeling, got a 3D printer, and found that I really, really liked it. So that's the path I'm chasing right now.
Okay.
I guess I'll go next. Ryan's still making some cool stuff down there. I was in IT. I used to work application support at my old job. I'm currently nowhere right now, so yeah, people.
So go support. Yeah, go support Carmelo on Patreon.
But yeah, like I said before, like I'm all about clay. I used to mess around with clay a lot. So yeah, I was just, pulled to ZBrush and to do that organic stuff. It's just second nature to me. I just had to learn ZBrush.
Brian, can you hear us? I don't know if anybody else can hear Ryan or not. Brian, if you can hear us, we can't hear you.
He's in deep right now. Something circular.
That's kind of the one thing. Like I just think I don't get in the mood for 3D modeling organically. Like CAD, I can sit here, I can be distracted, and I can come back to it. I've tried to play with ZBrush, I've tried to play with Sculptress, and I sit there with this round ball, and I look at it and go, okay, now what? I'm just not artistic.
Man, I will spend hours on ZBrush. I will seriously look at the time, start modeling or sculpting, and then look back at the time, and then like 4 hours have passed by, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, I've forgotten to eat while ZBrush modeling. I'm a fat guy.
That's crazy. I very much feel like the whole organic modeling and CAD modeling is like a left brain versus right brain kind of deal. Because, I mean, like, you think about sculpting with clay and how ZBrush works, and I just look at that and I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. You know, there's just so much artistic, creativity that goes into using those kind of applications versus the very technical, very rigid modeling that happens inside of programs like Fusion or SketchUp or Tinkercad. And my brain works with that. You know, it's analytical. It's very, driven by a process. Where I feel like in ZBrush, it's very much driven by the creative nature, very, being able to visualize a model and paint it versus, build it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you
like
need to change your mindset.
Go ahead, Smitty.
You need to change your mindset. I mean, I remember when I was doing some stuff like in ZBrush, it was taking me like a couple of days to just disconnect from like CAD software and try to focus my mind on ZBrush and try to figure out things, how it works. And it's just really a different world. It's just really putting again the time to focus your mind and try and focus in a different way to design and make stuff, because anyway, you're playing pretty much with clay, just digital clay.
Yeah, and I would, along that left brain, right brain thing, I'm a firm believer that you can have both. If you it's just what you spend your time training your mind to think like. And I mean, my whole life I've heard that I truly think that you're naturally inclined to one or the other. I was naturally inclined to, the logical thinking, programmatic math stuff. But, I think if you push yourself in the direction of being creative and artistic, that it'll come, and you can do both.
I absolutely agree 100% with that. I think something that you said there, as far as like, what you push yourself towards, because they talk about the bridge between the brains, or left and right, and all that stuff, and how one side dominates versus the other. I mean, when it comes to like music and stuff like that, since I've been like doing music my entire life, ever since I could, bang on pots and pans and then hold a guitar, that's where my focus was for so long. And then, the creativity, being able to learn, the rhythms, and you learn the math behind it, and then the creativity just blooms from it. And I feel like I'm very much now creative in music, where I guess I could, if I pushed myself in that same way towards modeling, eventually get there. It's just right now I'm very much like, millimeters and, exact radiuses and exact, angles. And for me, it's hard to click out of that Whereas with a guitar, I can just pick it up and just start composing, you know? So
yeah, it's very hard to change that mindset. I'm facing the same thing with ZBrush right now. It's like I just want to type in 20 and hit enter, but that doesn't work that way.
yeah.
But something that I want to throw out that's sort of unrelated, but like for people that are trying ZBrush, get a pen tablet, like the thing that you can actually draw on with the pen. It makes the experience completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you need to have that. It just doesn't work the same with the mouse.
Yeah, you can even find like a cheap one, but have pen and tablet, absolutely. It is impossible to learn that kind of software with a mouse.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
think
an hardware.
Monoprice sells a really cheap one that is still decent quality.
Yeah, even Wacom has a $50
Yeah.
one on Amazon that's really, really good.
Yeah, those
Yeah, I
are
started with that one.
Yeah, I think the mindset thing is a good point. There's a guy on YouTube, Smarter Every Day, which I'm sure a decent amount of you have seen. And one thing he did was make it so with a bicycle, the handle, when you turn it left, it actually turns the wheel right and vice versa. So it always moves opposite. And he couldn't for the life of him ride this bike until he was able to finally like teach his brain to do it another way. And then when he went back to riding a normal bike, it took a while for his brain to like click and work for that bike again. And so whenever he switches between the two bikes, it's always like his brain switching from one mindset to another. So I think it's definitely you're capable of doing it. It's just a matter of like what you guys are saying, getting that mindset swapped over to, you know, different brain mode.
Training and practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where everything comes into play is training and practice.
Yeah, totally agree.
Is anybody else getting skips and stutters on the Hangout?
Mine's going pretty smooth.
yeah, same
Yeah,
here.
It may just be
It's
my
only-
connection. Every once in a while, it just like freezes on me.
It's only on our view of it. I'm watching the live stream, and it seems to be going smoothly on the live stream to the channel. So
Okay.
it could be cutting our bandwidth just to keep us, you know, live with each other.
Yeah, it did say something about adjusting, but that the stream going out to YouTube would remain the same. So that's probably what it's up to.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption.
I just wanted to point out that and Maxinar DM in the chat said that ZBrush Core has a bundle with a Wacom device, so that's a good way to start.
I always found the best way to make myself learn something new is to invest a lot of money in it. Because then you have a reason not to quit. Like just recently, I've gotten really big into FPV flying with multi-rotors. And so it's like, well, I could start with some cheap, you know, little crappy one and then quit in a week. Or I can, you know, go all out, spend $200, $250 on all the equipment and then make myself stay. So I think depending on how serious and how much you really want to try something, you gotta kind of sacrifice something that you're, you know, to try and own up for wanting to learn.
I think I might be the exact opposite of that, Nick.
Yeah,
Me too.
I think, like when 3D printing, when I first got into 3D printing, I got the cheapest printer I think that I could have got reasonably that I knew would work, and then from there I was like forced to learn how 3D printing works, what parts were vital compared to other parts, and then upgrade, invest more money. I guess by the end of it, you know, you got that coveted $300 mark, and by the time that you're done, you're at like what, $800 invested on a printer. But yeah, and it was the same thing when I got into to FPV as well. I mean, I bought like a little piece of crap drone with a camera that had the screen built in, and that thing was just so piece of crap. And then I started building a 250 racer and just slowly working my way up until eventually I just was like, I don't like racing these things, and I bought a Phantom. So I eventually spent the money anyway. So in the long run, I'm probably spending more money than you, so I don't know why I'm saying all any of this. So digress.
Carmelo, you said about ZBrush to you, it comes from your talents, capabilities, vision with it comes from clay modeling years ago, or coming from clay modeling. Is that right?
Yeah, just playing around with clay. You know us Play-Doh players.
You say that, and as soon as you said about that, my mind went back to when I was in high school and had art class, and we had to do clay modeling. I made a butterfly. I made a butterfly, and everybody thought it was a devil. That's kind of what my clay modeling skill came down to.
That's what you really wanted to make. That's what you had in your heart.
Apparently, that was in my heart.
Watching too much Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good idea, though, of getting into ZBrush as well, is try it in the actual physical world and see how you manipulate with your hands, and then try and simulate that same method. Because like you were saying before, like I have this, ball of stuff in ZBrush. Where do I go with it from there? So I think, if you can do it in the real world and then see the path that you take and then mimic that into ZBrush. I mean, I have never used it, so maybe someone else can speak.
Yeah, for what I heard from different artists is not actually the same things. Like a lot of artists that actually use clay in the real world, then if they tried ZBrush, they kind of need to learn again how use, like how move and how pull stuff, because it works quite different. Of course, you have the artistic mind to be able to speed up the process, the learning curve with the software.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like being a translator. And I think that's part of my problem with like ZBrush and stuff is understand background at all organic 3D modeling. I don't know what the tools are actually supposed to do. So like I can pick up a piece of clay and I can mold it around with my hands, but I don't have to know what it is that I'm doing, what that's called. I just have to know that, yeah, it looks like it's going in the right direction. ZBrush, there's a lot of tools and stuff. It's kind of like when I first started learning Photoshop. I had no idea what half the tools actually did. Now that I've done photography for 10 years, I've got a better idea on how the tools work in Photoshop. Yeah, I missed it here in the chat. Non-productive 3D wanted to know if any of us are doing VR modeling at all.
As soon as I get a Vive or something.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I'm trying to receive one with some company. We'll see if something will come up. But yeah.
So go support Carmelo and Simone on so that they can get HTC Vive.
Yeah, like I was saying before, my method of just putting a bunch of money in and going with it, that's too much money to go with.
I don't have money to start with.
Yeah, it's a big investment, to be honest. And plus, you need to have a kind of decent room where you can use it, because you need to plug the sensor and everything. So it needs to make sense.
Hospital if I tried to do it in my office.
Yeah, I'm already full of printer on the back, so I don't have that many space in my room to place sensor and stuff. I will all the time need to remove them and then apply them when I need it, so it would be a bit painful.
Man, if I get a Vive, I'm gonna give up my bedroom. If I get a Vive, I will give up my bedroom.
I already did the same for the printer, so one step at a time.
I've been watching videos of people modeling in VR, and I'm jealous, but at the same time, I'm going, I'm not creative enough for this. It's like, they're making like, you've seen the movie Ghost. It's like you got Patrick Swayze reaching around Demi Moore modeling the clay, and you just got these hands out in nowhere modeling whatever.
Well, maybe all you need is Patrick Swayze behind you to help you model.
Oh, that too soon.
Hey guys, I'm gonna refresh here. I'm gonna refresh my computer here real quick. Joe Mike, can you take over the lead for me till I get back?
Sure. So, Now that I'm in control, we're going to talk about puppies. Y'all
I've got
like
to.
puppies?
Are they
So,
3D printed?
okay, so we've been talking about the, organic versus CAD modeling. I guess we would lump what Fusion 360 into CAD modeling. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say it could be both, but it's definitely more CAD.
Yeah. Kind of want to figure, because with the tools that you have with Fusion, as far as drawing lines, being able to make your various shapes and whatnot, it feels more CAD than organic to me. So besides ZBrush and Blender, what other organic modeling programs or other programs would you consider to be quote unquote organic?
I don't know if Mudbox is still out.
Do what?
Mudbox and Sculptio.
Sculptio, yeah.
Mudbox is still a thing.
Mudbox.
Okay.
I was probably like late middle school, early high school. I learned, I think it's Autodesk Maya, it was called. And I mean, I guess you can kind of call that organic, but you also start with very geometric shapes, but you can work your way into organic and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of like a blend, but it's definitely not a CAD program. And that was weird for me to use because I don't know, I think more geometrically, naturally. So I think that's where I fell through with it, but it was definitely a cool software to learn.
That's expensive software.
Yeah, I did not. That was cool.
There's also a 3ds Max, like Travis at A-Power Design. That's what he primarily uses.
Yeah.
I think that's more organic.
I'm not sure why on the stream. Right? Yeah, it's always Autodesk. Autodesk buy everything.
Yeah, they're buying out everyone.
I mean, I think I moved to Fusion 360 just because if you look in the future, I speak with different people inside the Fusion 360 and different evangelists. They're putting everything inside that software. I mean, you can do now 3D printing, you can do CNC. They are introducing, I think, soon metal folding. Electronics parts is another thing that we'll introduce soon. So pretty much what they want to be able to achieve is have a software that you will be able to create the product that you need, just in the same software. And I think in the future would be a super powerful tool.
It would encompass all things like a circle, which is 360 degrees.
Yeah. I don't know why I think the camera is stuck on my webcam. I'm checking now the live stream on YouTube. I don't know why.
No, it's only stuck on your webcam. If you're down in like the Hangouts window, if you click on your picture, it'll stick on you. And if you click on it again,
the one on the stream on the video on YouTube, I'm see that I'm always the one.
Oh, maybe it.
Even
maybe
if
it got locked when Matt left.
Yeah.
Auto
even
switching
if I
should be
mute
turned
myself.
Yeah, it might have gotten locked when Matt left.
Uh-oh, I wonder if I broke it. Let's see. Samantha, you said you got the stream up, right?
Yeah.
See if it switched to Nick. It's got a little bit of a delay, so.
I don't think it's switching.
Uh-oh.
No?
It did this one night to us, too, and we had to completely restart.
It become my stream now.
He is the prettiest of all of us, so I mean, it's not that bad, I guess.
Oh, well, this is good. When I go to moderate the video call, it says, this video call, you are in a moderated video call. Please contact the moderator. I've lost control of my own channel.
That's like when I'm working on computers and it asks for admin rights, and I'm like, I am the admin.
It's even better when it tells you access denied.
Yeah. It's like, do you know who you're talking to?
All right, let me try
I'd like to
something
speak to
here.
your manager.
Go ahead and keep talking, guys. I'll try to get this fixed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if my mic's working out.
Yep,
It's
now you're there.
working very quietly.
Quite a bit.
You guys can hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah, just barely. But I've got noise isolating headphones, so it's like